Hi everyone, this is the video for Thursday, May 14th and Friday, May 15th. Make sure you're watching this video on Edpuzzle. You'll be asked some questions as we go through the lesson, and that will count as a classwork grade. So we're thinking about this new essential question for Unit 6, which is what rights and responsibilities should teens have? And today we're going to talk about the right to vote. Today we're focusing on an argument. We're identifying the parts of an argument in the article 16, the right voting age. So first, let's talk about what is an argument. Well, in everyday life, an argument is when two people disagree about something. Each person believes that they are right and tries to show that the other person is wrong. I'm sure you've gotten into many arguments in your life, so try to think back to that. And what was your goal in that argument? It's similar to when we're talking about an argument in writing. So, if there's an argument in a piece of writing, it's when the writer has a strong opinion about a topic and tries to convince the reader to have the same opinion. So, they're doing more than just giving us information. They are using that information to persuade us, to make us believe the same thing that they believe. There are several parts to every argument, and we're going to go over each part today. There's the claim, there's reasons, there's evidence, and there's explanation. Each part has to support the one above it. So, for example, the reason in the argument has to support the claim. The evidence has to support the reason and connect to the claim. The explanation has to support the evidence, which supports the reason, which supports the claim. So, all of the parts are connected, and you'll see each of these parts in an argument. Let's talk about the first one. That's a claim. It's a statement that the writer is trying to prove. There is one claim in an argument. Let's look at an example. Maybe someone's thinking about the question, should cell phones be allowed in class? Now, you could have two different opinions about this topic. Here's an example of a claim. Cell phones should not be allowed in class. That's someone's opinion, and they've created a claim. Now, in order to create an argument, they need to support this claim. The first thing they need is a reason, and that's why something is true. Usually there are 2 to 4 reasons in an argument. So we know our claim. Cell phones should not be allowed in class, but we need to know why. So reason 1, students will be distracted by social media. Reason 2, students can cheat more easily. So now we have 2 different reasons why our claim is correct. Next, we need evidence, and those are facts and numbers that clearly show that something is true. There are usually 2 to 4 pieces of evidence to support each reason. So if it's evidence, it has to be from another source. It can't be from the writer's own mind. Maybe it's from a newspaper. Maybe it's from a research study. Maybe it's from another article. That is what evidence is. Let's take a look at an example. According to a survey by the New York Times, 70% of high school students said that they cannot focus if they have a notification on their phone from social media. So that's supporting this reason that students will be distracted by social media. We know that it's evidence because it says that it's from the New York Times. Next, we need an explanation. The writer explains why each piece of evidence supports the reason or the claim. There is one explanation for each piece of evidence. So we still have that piece of evidence, but we can't just leave it there in the argument. You have to explain why it supports your reason and your claim. Here's the explanation. If students have their phones out in class and receive social media notifications, they will not be able to pay attention and they will miss instruction, which will affect their learning negatively. So we have an explanation. How does this piece of evidence connect back to that reason and the claim? All right. So let's make sure we're clear between the difference between evidence and explanation. The evidence is always a fact. It's something that is definitely true. It's information from another source, like a newspaper, a university study, an experiment, or maybe somebody who is an expert on that topic. So it would be a quotation from that person. The explanation is in the author's words, and it shows you how the evidence supports the reason and the claim. So we need to have both in an argument so that it's very clear to the reader why the claim is true and why you should agree with the claim. Let's do some practice telling the difference between evidence and explanation. Is this evidence or is it an explanation? Researchers have noted that the brain releases the neurotransmitter dopamine, also known as the feel-good hormone, whenever we receive a notification on our phones. If you said that that's evidence, you're correct. How do we know it's evidence? Well, it says right here, researchers have noted, and it's giving me a fact. It's not showing me an opinion yet. How about this one? Is it evidence or explanation? A USA Today poll conducted in 2019 found that 80% of teachers do not allow cell phones in class. Yes, this is also evidence, and we know because it's from a source, a USA Today poll. So this is a newspaper, and it's giving us information about what they found when they asked the readers a question. Is it evidence or an explanation? It is clear that most teachers do not allow phones in their classrooms because they interfere with the learning process. Now, we can already tell that this is not a fact. This is someone's opinion because they're saying it is clear. A research project would never say it is clear. They would just give us the facts. It's also giving us an opinion. We have that word because, which is showing the reason why teachers do not allow cell phones. This is an explanation. It is not evidence. Let's take a look at another example. It is impossible for us to avoid paying attention to our phones because our brains are wired to respond to them. Did you see again how this is an explanation? It is impossible is a very extreme statement, which means it's more likely someone's opinion. We also have the word because, which is showing a relationship, which also shows us that this is an explanation. All right, here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be reading 16, The Right Voting Age in the textbook, and we're going to be completing parts of an argument document as you read. Let me show you what that document looks like first. When you go to classwork, you'll see this document, and you'll see my example right here. First of all, we already know the claim. It's in the title. The voting age should be lowered to 16. That's the claim. Right now, the voting age is 18. So we're going to see a bunch of reasons and evidence that support the reasons as to why it should now be 16. In each part, you're going to look for what is the reason that the writer is talking about. What is one piece of evidence that supports the reason, and what is one explanation? There'll be more than one piece of evidence, but I want you to select one, okay? Then you're going to answer the question, does this reason, evidence, and explanation convince you that the voting age should be lowered to 16? Why or why not? So we're evaluating the author. Did they do a good job at persuading us? Let's go to the text. Remember how to log on to the textbook. We're going to be in Unit 6 and we're in Cluster 1. So that's where you want to go. It's going to be on page 471. So I'm clicking and I'm finding our textbook. And here we go. Unit 6, Cluster 1, 16, the right voting age. Okay. All right, here we are. According to United States law, citizens can vote when they are 18 years old. Teens may wonder why they have to wait so long. This article suggests lowering the voting age to 16. See if you agree. Let's look at this first section together. Youths need the right to vote.
According to the National Youth Rights Association, Young people should be empowered to participate in the democratic process starting at the age of 16. Lowering the voting age is an idea whose time has come.
Youths need the right to vote.
The national academics, scientists who write reports for the government, states that 80% of 16 and 17-year-olds work before graduation. The Houston Chronicle reports that 61% of teenagers work during the school year. Taxes are taken from these teens' paychecks. But these teens have no say about the ways that tax money is spent. Youths also give part of...
I'm going to pause it right there. You want to notice that the subheading is going to be the reason. So the reason that they're talking about is youths need the right to vote, that they just need it. That's reason number one, and that's what I'm going to put here. Next, I'm looking for evidence. There's several pieces of evidence just in this paragraph. The National Academies of Sciences say that's that piece of evidence, and the Houston Chronicle reports that 61% of teenagers work. I'm going to use this one because it has a very clear explanation that follows. So here's the evidence that I found. The Houston Chronicle reports that 61% of teenagers work during the school year. Now I'm looking for their explanation. Taxes are taken from these teens' paychecks, but these teens have no say about the ways that tax money is spent. This is the author's explanation, and that is what I'm going to put for explanation. Now, I'm thinking about this reason, this piece of evidence, and this explanation. Does it convince me that, yes, the voting age should be lowered to 16? And here's what I'm saying in 1 to 2 sentences. This does not convince me that the voting age should be lowered because there are many other groups in the United States who pay taxes but are not allowed to vote. For example, immigrants without U.S. citizenship pay taxes but do not have the right to vote. So this is saying that there's other groups for the same situation affects, so it's not a very strong argument in my mind. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking for reason 2, reason 3, and reason 4. Find one piece of evidence and an explanation from the text. So this is all from the text. This is in your own words here, your opinion. Notice that you're going to see that each reason is one of the subheadings. So when you see the subheading, that is the reason. You're going to look deeply into that section to find the evidence and the explanation. So that is what you're working on for Thursday and Friday. Remember that the work is due on Sunday by 11:59. I'll talk to you soon.